looked back on World War II, I could never understand why Germany got to a point that it was exterminating the Jews. Like, how do we even get to that point? And we're taught to not be anti-Semitic. I mean, we're taught to respect the history. We're taught to have empathy for what the Jews, I guess, experienced. But it's so interesting. I came across a video today of one of Hitler's speeches, and they had translated it to English so people could understand what he was saying. And it was like when you hear a speech, it's like he almost had a point. He almost had like a reason to stand on the grounds that he had. Like in terms of his own national security and what he was trying to achieve in terms of Germany. And I don't know, I just you could see that he was definitely convincing in his position. So it's hard to see truly. The more I look into the Jewish ideology and Judaism, I hear a lot of people saying that, it was actually Israel who had their hands on 9/11. Like, there was an army report that was issued saying that Netanyahu, I don't know how he did it, but somehow they link it back to Israel, like that it was he was the one behind it. So that's confusing to me. Like, could Israel really be that cunning that they would stage 9/11 just to incite a war with the United States with the Middle East? And if that's really true, and there's really an army report of this, well, what the fuck? Everybody's just evil on all sides doing effed up stuff, and we don't really know what we're getting dragged into. I mean, see, this is what's confusing to me. I mean, and it makes sense. Okay, if Judaism is the oldest surviving religion, it's the oldest, blood going back all the way to the Hebraic bloodline, then why wouldn't they be more advanced? Why wouldn't they be more, maybe they are actually more intellectual, genetic, human design. You know what I mean? Because when I look at Israel's intellect and I look at the Arabs' intellect in terms of the Middle East and the Islamist, you can see there's definitely a gap here. And I mean, because why is it that Israel, a country that's the size of New Jersey, is able to outsmart Syria, Iran, Iraq, all these militaries? They're literally they went to town on Hamas, they slaughtered Hezbollah, they cut off all the heads to all the Hydras, and now they got Iran left on their hit list. It's just okay, well, these Middle Eastern nations, these rebel fighters, they're either they're clearly poor and don't have more resources, and they're unable to outsmart Israel's technology. Well, is Israel's technology that advanced? Is it more advanced than the United States? Or is the US and Israel sharing intelligence? I mean, they got to be sharing a lot of intelligence, I'm sure. But it's just, I'm caught up in the trying to get to the root of the truth. I mean, we know that Israel stands on Zionism, and really we know who's the man behind the curtain, the Illuminati, who are the globalists. I think they are majorly Zionist, Rockefeller's a Zionist, Bill Gates a Zionist, Rothschilds, they're Zionist. So, and what is the fundamentalism or the ideology of Zionism versus Judaism, and are they actually what's the difference between the population? You know what I mean? And is Netanyahu a Zionist? Or is he just controlled by the Zionist? You know, and so is this actually something that should be eliminated from the planet? Like, should Zionism, but it's kind of like, I feel like on some level, when you look at the difference between cultures, the Jews are, you know, like overall, they're a peaceful society. They are contributors to humanity in terms of, you know, all realms, technology, um, education, you know, expansion of democracy in the free world. Um, and if there's democracy, then there's freedom of speech. There's freedom in Israel, actually. And I think it does speak for themselves that they are peaceful with many different nations within their country, and everybody has all equal rights. I mean, people are forgetting this, you know? Yeah. You know, and could Israel have been so desperate to plot 9/11 because they needed a strong ally to actually fight the Middle East with them so they would, but then it's like, how can I believe that? Like, how do I know people aren't planting this information because they want people to turn against Israel? Like, everybody's turning against Israel. The Pope just issued some statement saying uh that's condemning Israel. The Pope is condemning Israel. Like, I'm sorry. I feel like, you know, I just did that remote view on the Vatican, and it's like, yeah, they're opening the fucking tomb to Lucifer's tomb. They're opening the door to Lucifer's tomb. They're opening the door to the Antichrist. It's a ritual to bring in mass world slaughter. Like, by condemning Jews publicly, that's fucking wrong for the Pope to do. If you're a man of holiness and peace, you would not condemn anybody, really. I mean, what the heck? He's just a part of the Holy War. I mean, we know that, but I mean, I think what I'm fundamentally seeing is I think Muhammad is the Antichrist. And I mean, it's clear as fuck if you pick up a Bible, pick up a Torah, and then pick up a Quran. Read all three of them. The only book that's telling you to, like, consistently slaughter, slay, and kill, torture, out of hatred is the Quran. And I'm sorry, but the fundamentals and the ideologies of the last prophet. I mean, there's a reason why he's the last prophet. He's the last prophet because we're all gonna die fighting the radicals of Islam. I mean, you should see what they're doing to their children. The mothers in Iran and Iraq and Afghanistan, they are singing to their babies, "Pick up the gun and go slaughter the Jews." They're teaching it in their elementary schools. They're conducting plays where their children hold guns and knives and stab Jews. Um, I mean, even Trump just issued a statement saying that they're educating their children for hatred. This was just something that he just put out. Like, I'm actually kind of thankful Trump's coming in the office because he fucking gets it and he sees it. I'm sorry, but like, there is a sickening hatred and that ideology. Like, I personally feel it needs to be banned, like, or isolated or localized. And um, it's I feel that Muhammad is envious of Christ, and so therefore created this ideology to um, kill Christ. And I'm we know, like, I mean, like, I don't think you agree with this because I said this before that Jesus was a Jew. But I mean, I feel like I don't know like the true origins of that, but I think it's a clear consensus that he was a Jew. But it's like, and Christianity took this on as well. So Christians, they worship Christ, they honor Christ, they venerate Christ. So we have two of the three religions that pray to Christ and see him as the Son of God. And then we have one religion that completely defies this and wants to murder anybody that's believes this. Wants to murder anybody that believes in Christ. This is what they call the infidels. This is what they call the disbelievers. It's just, you can see how, for me personally, I feel like, not that I stand on religion, but I stand with Christ. I mean, I believe in his teachings. I don't believe in the teachings of Muhammad, and I feel like, yeah, this is like fundamentally just ripping a black hole vacuum seal. And the Vatican is publicly like saying this before you're about to open these 5 portals to hell. Like, the Antichrist is here. The Antichrist is risen. This is what's walking on the earth right now. We're watching the Antichrist open the gates to hell and let Lucifer out of his tomb. I don't know. I mean, let me know what you think. Drop it down in the comments. Make sure to put a like on this video. If you liked hearing my perspective on the World War III geopolitical sphere, it's definitely me kind of stepping out on a limb to start expressing some of my observations when it just comes to looking at things through the lens of, okay, what's going on in the 3D? What's going on in the 4D? What's going on in terms of these dictator and dictatorship regimes, and what's occurring in terms of the bigger picture in Revelations. I mean, everything here, as we know, is the holy war, and this holy war is raging. And I've been saying it, over the past couple of days. I put a video out on my Facebook. You may have seen it. I was issuing a public service announcement telling people that this is the time to pay attention and be vigilant to what's going on. This is the time to be prepping. Okay, all of my preppers out there, all of you who know about creating those bug out bags and, what it kind of looks like if we had some sort of a government shutdown or we had some sort of unexpected event occur over in the United States, given the state of the orbs and the UAPs and the UFOs and everything that's kind of already playing out in terms of the galactic battle that's going on in our skies over Nevada, over Arizona, New Jersey, California, Texas. You know what I mean? I think we're watching the warfare kick off in the skies preemptively, and not to send fear, right? Don't go into fear. This is not fear. We are the 144,000 witnessing. Okay, we are the witnesses. We're at a time where the crossfires and the crosshairs of persecution are playing out. All the persecution woundings are coming up to the surface. All the crucifixion woundings are coming up to the surface. All that work that we've done as a higher consciousness community, removing our J cells, removing our Draco seals, removing the feminine and masculine implant systems of the deepest scars, the deepest wounding. We've been going deeper, deeper, deeper in our personal collective Akashic records, our individual collective Akashic records, and our collective shared memories and shared implant systems, the persecution systems, basically the death seals that keep us bound to death cults, which is what, the Zionist may be. It is what the Islamist radicals may be. These are death cults, right? We've been removing this out of our bodies. This is a call to the divine like never seen before on this earth. And we should be so thankful right now. I have to tell you guys, we should be so in gratitude right now that the Hydra's head is exposing itself, that the fallen hijacked seraphim, okay, because there's aspects of these are angelic wars as much as they're holy wars. These are angelic wars where certain angelic lines and factions they had to force breed those seraphim angelic lines, okay, which were a lot of what the original embodied feminine soul template was when the Nephilim came down, when the Dracos took them all for force breeder programs, when Thoth took them all to Nibiru and force bred them with Anunnaki hybrid blood, right? The Anunnaki, the forefathers, Enlil, the priest of Enlil, Abraham, the priest of Enlil. Abraham was the priest of Enlil. So, I mean, this is all coming up to the surface, and that's what I mean, you guys. We are getting a purge on the planet. We are cleansing these demonic forces out. Okay, the Vatican probably doesn't have any choice at this time but to open up that portal. Why? Because the fire is burning under their own asses to the point that they can't contain it anymore. And they got to open those gates, right? They've been holding back the war. That's what they've been holding back through the Archangel Michael ley line. And they're the ones that are kind of like the revelation of command that's authorizing the war gates. The Vatican is a reversal stargate, means everything runs in the opposite of what you think. Opening means war, closing means peace. So they're opening doors. It's all ass backwards. This is actually called the door of death. I mean, you can look that up on Wikipedia. The bronze door that they're opening is called the door of death. Now, to all my new earthers and those on the higher timelines, I get it. I get this. A lot of us cannot stomach this at this time. A lot of us cannot look at this information at this time. A lot of us want to push it away and just let's not go there, because you don't want anything to penetrate you. You don't want anything to take you down. You don't want anything to pull you out of being true to your path to God, being sovereign, being free. And I understand that for those of you that need to tune out and do that for yourself. If that's where you're at, then that's where you need to be, and that's okay. But just know that there's some of us in the 144 right now that are standing like warriors on the front line of what's playing out in World War III. And we are watching, we are observing, we are seeing through to the truth, to the core of what it is. And we know that we stand in our morality, we stand in our integrity, we stand in our gnosis of truth, of love, of compassion, of Christ consciousness, of conviction, of authority in who we are in our angelic body, right? And we watch with care and concern. We watch with love and so much just space inside us to be able to work in the places of the collective right now that are needing our assistance the most. Grid workers right now. Now is the time to be doing the missions, right? If you got that indigo type 3 templating, you got that Orion spirit, you got that Orion warrior tribal blood in you. All right, like my Orions, my guardian Orions, my rescue Orions, right? Like we can handle the polarity, we can handle the duality. We are transmuters, we extract, we reintegrate the organic, the spiritual, the necessary, higher source, God, love fields, and we are strong and we are unified and we are healing and working on this from the angelic realms. That's what we're doing over here on our part for what's occurring. We are angels. We are working on the grids. We are harmonizing this earth through our energy fields, through our chakras, through our wombs, through our hearts, through our minds, through our spirits. And we're cleansing and clearing all of this. So be sure to go to check out my Vatican remote view that I did with Noko. It was spectacular. Really, probably, like Cheryl told me, one of the most significant clearings of our time for what we're going through at this time. So if you need a clearing right now, please go watch that video according to what's going on, because we really got to the depth of, I think, the two most significant places right now that are holding the antagonistic war patterning in the planet, and the war prophecy, the Armageddon revelations, where revelations is occurring, the Vatican, the Temple Mount. Everything's being battled out over this Al-Aqsa Mosque. Al-Aqsa Mosque is most significant in this, being that it's King of Solomon's temple. And this is where Jews and Muslims have to share this temple. This is like the convergence point, right? They're battling for this right to be on the earth and to issue a one world religion. A one world religion at the head of power and at the majority of the global population. So, yeah, beautiful souls, please know that if you're like me, you're kind of an angel standing and getting a front row seat to what's occurring. You are getting a front row seat to the lens of revelations. And I mean, this is the biggest stage in the world. This is the biggest play in the world. And I think it's honestly, it's a beautiful thing that we get to observe it the way that we're getting to observe it right now. And this is clearing everything inside of us that we, on an eternal level, that we experienced in World War I. This is actually clearing everything that we experienced as a collective from World War II. All of this information surfacing, all of this coming up, right? This is clearing. We're learning now. We are truly learning now as a collective humanity what our world is about, what the wars have been about. We're learning and we're growing right now. So revelations is revolution. Just know that everything will be an outcome that is in the best good, the highest timeline, the highest outcome for humanity. Have no doubt about that for any second. And just keep praying to God, keep connecting with Source, keep really assisting those on the spiritual side. Okay, I've been getting a lot of calls to bilocate my energy over to areas where the children are dying, where the victims and the hostages are being held, where people are under, much more intense and extreme threats. And I'm going as an aid, a spiritual aid. Okay, sending spiritual relief, sending comfort, nurture, love in the spirit form as much as possible. That's what we should be doing, guys. Whew, okay. I love you all so much. This was a rant. I'll see you guys on the next video. And Merry Christmas if I don't get with you guys until then. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.